everyone, welcome back to the Silly Points podcast. I'm here with Rishi Arjun, Aarav Kapur, Rohan Venkataswaran, and I'm Suraj Srinivasan. And we're going to be talking about the recent India and New Zealand test match, the first one that just happened. Lots of exciting things, exciting finish as well. Day 5 was pretty interesting. We'll sort of just break it down. It'll be a shorter one, and we'll go from there. Big thing, standout player was Shreyas Iyer, got man of the match, scored 105 and 65, I think. Yeah, pretty solid scores, and a great bowling from Tim Southee. 5 for and then a 3 for. Dominated throughout. Thoughts from you guys?
Yeah, I think anytime you lose the toss in India as a overseas team and you don't lose the match is a pretty impressive effort. To bat a whole day out against that spin attack, New Zealand should be very, very proud. I think India would be disappointed to not have finished the job, but it was not the easiest wicket to pick up 10 wickets. It wasn't a raging turner. It was a pretty slow, low wicket, and obviously the trio did bowled as well as they could have. But I think New Zealand's newest player, Rachin Ravindra, batted very securely, 90 balls. Didn't really look in much trouble during at least the last 10 overs that I watched. He looked pretty comfortable batting at the crease, and I think led by Tom Latham and Will Young in the first innings, New Zealand pretty good effort with both the bat and ball. Don't think either team actually has too many problems. I mean, obviously we're looking at the two teams that are WTC finalists. Don't think either team has too many problems to really look at for the next test match. I think they both played high quality cricket. I think New Zealand pace bowlers were absolutely superb. They were not the easiest conditions, but I don't think I've seen overseas pace bowlers in India get as much swing as Jamieson and Sally did during this test match, and for such long periods of times. And they're able to resist both the Indian openers and their top order. And I think Southee and Jameson's first test in Asia was fantastic. This is probably the first time he's played a test match in conditions that he would not have been expected to be a main threat in, and he still stepped up. Tim Southee, I don't know if you guys know, averaged under 25 in Asia, and his average in India is actually better than his overall career average. And for a guy who's played for 13, 14 years, it's kind of like Jimmy Anderson. Like, they're both improving as they get older in tougher conditions. So I think Tim Southee was probably New Zealand's man of the match for me. Yeah, I think with India, obviously Shreyas Iyer on test debut, pretty fortunate to get the test debut. A lot of injuries and players being rested. We were able to bring him a test debut, and luckily for him, he really took the opportunity. He looked very, very secure. Batted a high strike rate too during his 100, and he's kind of told the selectors, I think I should be in the team when Virat Kohli comes back.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for New Zealand is that whenever I see a test match in India, I expect every team to play 2 to 3 spinners, especially 3, which is what New Zealand ended up doing. But if you look at the way they took their wickets, in the first innings, 8 out of New Zealand's 10 wickets came to the pace bowlers. And in the second innings, it was 6 out of 7, which is definitely not something you would expect in a test match in India. Yeah, that might be a factor. That might be the case because of the pitch. Like, I think in the post-match interview, Dravid was saying that the pitch didn't turn as much as he expected on the last day. In India, you would expect the pitch to turn a lot more. But even despite that, the fact that pace bowlers were able to get so many wickets in a test match in India is testament to both. It's testament to how well they bowled throughout the match. On India's side, however, they bowled the heck out of the spinners. They just kept bowling and bowling, and because I would say, without a doubt, their pace bowlers were not as effective as Southee and Jamieson. So as a result, Akshar, Ashwin, and Jadeja got the brunt of the overs, and they were given the responsibility on the last day to take all 10 wickets, or rather 9.
Yeah, I wonder if New Zealand fell into the trap of thinking spinning conditions, we need to go with 3 spinners, and whether maybe they should have just picked their best bowlers. I think if you rank by bowlers wise, I think Wagner, Trent Boult are going to be way better bowlers than Somerville and Ajaz Patel. Obviously, you'll need a spinner in these conditions, but maybe picking Wagner over Will Somerville would have been a smart choice. Because they didn't really seem hesitant. They didn't even seem willing to bowl Somerville much. He didn't even bowl much in the second innings, and India did not have any trouble playing him at all, to be honest. So
I thought he was not a terrible bowler in the first innings. It might also be because India's lineup is filled with right-handed batsmen that they didn't feel the need to bowl a right arm off break bowler when their main spinner is a left armer and also their fast bowlers were bowling so well. But yeah, one thing I would say is that I at least I was happy they didn't end up picking Mitchell Santner for the test because I see him as a limited overs specialist because he doesn't really get much turn. I think of him as a slow fast bowler when he's bowling. So I'm happy they went with Somerville and Ravindra definitely proved that his selection was worth it with the bat. And also Somerville was pretty useful on both the fourth and fifth day with the bat.
yeah, I mean Somerville. Somerville obviously batted very, very well as a night watchman, but I still think New Zealand could have gone for Neil Wagner
I
in
agree.
this situation. I mean, maybe they also expected the pitch to turn a bit more. If on a slow, low pitch, Wagner is very effective because he can make the ball bounce at very different heights to make it very uncomfortable for the batsman. And he could bring life out of a dead pitch, and he could bring life out of any wicket. And during those couple partnerships, we're thinking like Shreyas Iyer and Jadeja in the first innings, or Shreyas Iyer and Ridwan Saha in the second innings. We want a boy like Wagner who could bowl those overs. But yeah, something that's really easy for me to say in hindsight.
Yeah, of course. When you go to a test match in India, I definitely feel like you should pick three spinners, at least two spinners, and someone who can bowl a good 10 overs in an innings if they need to, which is what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. I think Wagner should have played. Maybe in place of Ajaz Patel, but he also did take 2 wickets in the first innings and bowled pretty decently in the second innings. And
No, I do think Ajaz Patel is New Zealand's frontline spinner, like their number one choice.
Yeah,
most likely bring in Wagner for Somerville, right?
Yeah, I say Wagner for Somerville because Rachin Ravinder is not in the team as a spinner. He's actually an opening batsman, but there's no spot for a batsman in that New Zealand top 6, which is a very settled lineup. So he was there as an extra batsman, and that extra batting cushion ended up saving the test match for them because usually they would pick an pure all-rounder in that spot. But the fact that he could bowl spin is just something that helped get him into the team.
Yeah. So you say they're top 6. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Also, funny observation, like in the end of the test, there were like 14 people of Indian origin in the field, and 13 of them were born in India.
Yeah. New Zealand have like 3-4 Indian players in the last 5 years that have all played Test cricket for them now.
Yeah. You said their top 6 is pretty settled. So what happens when Conway comes back? Who do you think will have to make way? One thing I was thinking about was maybe if Latham can keep wicket, they might be able to give him the wicket keeping job and take Blundell out of the lineup.
I don't know, because Tom Latham can say he's the best opener in the world in Test cricket. That's not even an unfair statement. And I don't think you'd want to take him out of opening because you can't. There's no keepers that open the batting, right? I'm not sure. I don't know. That's a very good problem for New Zealand to have because Will Young has had 2 fantastic Test matches right now. But
and against England he played well as well.
And then again he had to make way when for the WTC.
Yeah, exactly.
Devin Conway. Well, I think for now Devin Conway's not available next match, so I don't.
Exactly.
I don't think we have to worry about it. So I think
maybe Henry Nichols can sit out when he's back.
That's another point. Yeah.
But he averages 45, right?
One thing I read about Nichols was like both of his 150 plus scores last year came when he was dropped in the single digits or tens or something like that. So I don't know how much you want to take from that, but that is something.
So I mean, I've known that Will Young is going to play for New Zealand, but I think New Zealand and me have both assumed Ross Taylor is going to retire, and then Will Young is going to come in. Because you're not going to drop Ross Taylor. So I think Will Young will have a spot immediately when Ross Taylor comes in, when Ross Taylor retires. But I don't know. I think at least next match he'll definitely play because Conway's out. And then, I guess they'll have to like either rotate or maybe if they're playing nations that aren't as good, or like if they have a home series coming up, New Zealand. If they're playing like weaker nations, they can even rest Kane or Ross, who play a lot of cricket anyways, and just give all of them an opportunity to bat.
Oh yeah, New Zealand is in the not to the same extent, but they're in the position India is in where they have an embarrassment of riches. They can rest half their side and still be competitive against a lot of teams.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you see Daryl Mitchell's not playing, and last match I think he scored 100 in his last test match against Pakistan. And Colin de Grandhomme has proven he is at least serviceable as an all-rounder.
Matt Henry won them the test match.
Oh yeah,
England,
Matt Henry.
And then he got
dropped into the lineup, and then
he's dropped after for the WTC
exactly.
final. So yeah, New Zealand I think they have a lot of options in batting and fast bowling. So, and even Tom Blundell, he was also just waiting for his spot once BJ Watley retired, and that's kind of how I thought Will Young would be with Ross Taylor. So yeah, New Zealand, I mean, they've shown again why. I mean, they're one of the best nations right now in all three formats. I think the only thing that I'd change for them in the next match would be Wagner for Somerville, unless it's blatantly obvious that wicket's going to turn a lot more. But I don't think so. I think Mumbai is not the biggest spinning wicket in the world. But I'm not sure.
I think the commentators, they pointed out at the beginning that Kane hasn't really managed three spinners a lot. And they were talking about how that's a pretty tough thing. And you feel like obligated to give that third spinner in like a few overs here and there. And it just messes up the rotation. So I think bringing in Wagner will just ease things out for them. And Pace did well for the first match. So,
yeah. I don't think he has to bowl Rachin at all. I think if Rachin's batting at 7, it should be because he was the best number 7 out of the other options. And the other option was Daryl Mitchell. So it's up. If New Zealand think Rachin is a better batsman than Daryl Mitchell in these conditions, then he should pick Rachin. But if they think Mitchell is a better bat, then Mitchell should be picked. I think the batting is more important for that third spinner. Yeah. When it comes to the Indian team, obviously India have rested a few players. They're not playing their first choice openers. Mayank and Gill played. Mayank had 2 failures this test match. Gill scored a 50 in the first innings. Shreyas Iyer came in for Kohli because Rahane went up. So and then Ridhiman Saha played his first test match after a while and ended up having played a pretty solid.
Scored second innings was very useful, yeah.
Very, very useful. He showed I mean, obviously we know Saha's not Rishabh Pant level of batting, but he is a fighter of a batsman. He could really grind and stay the wicket. But he also was injured, and we also got to see KS Bharat, who kept very, very well. Some really good takes. Really good takes. Another future keeper consideration. But I think, obviously, Akshar Patel had a great test. Ashwin is. Why do we have to talk about how good Ashwin is, especially at home?
It was a great test for India's all-rounders. Like Ashwin made 2 very valuable 30s and took some wickets in the first innings, and Jadeja took 4 wickets in the second innings and had a decent go with the bat.
Yeah, got a 50 in the first
innings. Ashwin's batting was really good. Like you would see Saudi troubling every other batter, and Ashwin would just hit him for a couple of boundaries every over. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, Ashwin looked very, very compact at batting at 7 in that second innings. But I think
in terms of wickets, he went ahead of Harbhajan Singh, and now he's the 3rd highest wicket taker for India.
I said 3 years ago Ashwin's a better bowler than Harbhajan Singh, and I think it's finally established. I think now Kumble's last for him to get, and I think Ashwin. I don't know if he'll get there. I think fitness is the only thing that could stop him.
If he can play for 4 to 5 years, he'll definitely get to
4. Yeah, he needs 4 years. I think. Yeah, that's 150 wickets. I think he'll need, right?
And also looking at some stats, Harbhajan Singh played for 103 matches and took 417 wickets. And Ashwin's played like 23 matches less than him, and he's already at 419 wickets.
Yeah.
And his average and strike rate are also better than Harbhajan.
Yeah. And they're better than Kumble's as well. So we are going back to that old debate. I mean, Aarav, Rohan, you're new, but every time we keep talking about why this guy should be dropped.
Oh, I was here last time. Don't worry.
But you did the World T20 podcast with us, right?
Nah, I was here after the
India England.
The India England series.
Okay, so you are part of this. You know this. What does India have to do what does India have to do? What does Rahane have to do to get dropped from the team? Because he's doing as much as he can. But yet, I think I said his career should have been done after that England series.
I made a joke before.
Now he's captain.
I made a joke before the match that Shreyas Iyer needed to score 200 runs in an innings to keep his spot for the next game, because that's just how the Indian team works.
I don't see how Rahane gets this long of a rope when you got. First, you already have Mayank Gill, because Mayank and Gill were not supposed to be opening this match, right? It'd usually be Rohit and Rahul.
Yeah.
Those two could have batted at 5. They'd probably score more than Rahane. Now you got Shreyas Iyer added to the list of players who couldn't bat at 5. Hanuman Vihari is there playing for India A when he could easily be playing over Rahane.
Surya as well. Yadav.
Surya Kumar Yadav, who hasn't debuted yet.
Yeah, he averages like 45 in first class.
Yeah, but Rahane, who averages like 20 this year, has a very poor home record. So it's not like home is helping him at all. But now he's poor overseas as well from the last 3 years.
So the main reason why Rahane was in the squad was because he was a savior in overseas conditions, but that hasn't really worked out at all.
That was when Rahane was a savior in overseas conditions. I was still in middle school.
That was probably more than 4 years ago.
I'm graduating. I'm graduating college in 2 years.
I've been a big Rahane supporter over the years, but at this point, I feel like it's enough. And I feel like since India has so many people waiting for a spot, like Bihari was averaging over 60 in first class cricket for like 2 years and then finally got a selection. And Shreyas Iyer is averaging, I think, 54 or something like that. And he's waited so long to get a selection. When there's so many good players just sitting in the ranks, I feel like it doesn't hurt to drop a player like Rahane or even a Pujara to try someone out and just say, hey, these are the people who are on your tails, and you better give him some performances, otherwise your spot is gone.
See,
how do you drop a captain? Like, how do you drop Australia did it and captain after one game?
I mean,
I guess Rahane still hasn't lost.
Rahane shouldn't have a spot in this Indian team, but I don't think I've ever seen a captain being dropped.
I think like they have to. Otherwise, you're really screwing over a player who just scored 150 runs in a test. For a player who's probably scored 150 runs in his last 5 matches, like you can see Rahane's average is below 40 now. It used to be 52 like 5 years ago.
The average this year is 19.57.
Yeah, it's like, and he's failed in all conditions. Australia, after that MCG 100, he failed. Failed in Indian conditions. He's failed in English conditions. He's just obviously not good enough. But here's what's going to happen. This is what I wanted to tell you guys before, but I said I'll say it for the podcast. So if Rahane, someone tweeted out, so I run the Silly Points Twitter account. Someone said Rahane will get play next match and he'll score because he always scores at the second test of a series. And I thought it's like a random joke tweet. And they were like, yeah, he'll save his career. And I was like, and then I looked into it. He does score in second test every time. MCG,
all he does is have one good innings. That was the case in Melbourne too, and that was the case against England as well.
But it's always second innings. Yeah. It's always second test. Lord 61 second test. Even in the home series against England, he scored his only 50 in that. MCG he scored 100. 28. His first hundreds too. His first main innings for India was a 96 against South Africa. That was second test. His first 100 was in the second test of a series. His most famous 100 against the Lord's 100 in 2014 was the second test of that series. Wow. 2014-15 against Australia, he scored 81 in the second test. So this is what's going to happen. He's going to score this next match. And then he won't score again, but he's going to score and save his career. I'm telling you, it's going to happen now.
So is that the thing now? Rahane needs one score to keep his spot while someone else can score 50 runs in 3 different innings and still lose his spot?
That's what's been happening for like years.
Yeah, that's
like if I remember correctly, was Gill available at the end of the England series, or was he injured for the entire thing?
He was injured.
He was injured. Yeah, he wasn't.
Okay.
But I don't see Gill playing as an opener when Rohit and Rahul are back.
Oh yeah, I think Gill can definitely slot in at number 4, like I don't know, like someone like Tendulkar who's opened in limited overs and then was a middle order.
I think the only problem is the dude who bats for is named Virat Kohli, so I don't think that's happening.
In fact, I was listening to the commentary during the test, and they were saying that your number 3 batter needs to be someone who, if the openers score a lot of runs, they can continue the scoring, and if the openers fail, they can consolidate and do something like that. And the commentators are actually saying Pujara was not able to do that because he just consolidates every time. He's not able to score fast. Whereas a guy like Kohli, who's like very talented as a batter, can do something like that. So there could be an argument to push Kohli up to 3.
Oh my God! You actually bought that argument?
No, I'm just saying that's
the comment that was just Lakshman Sivaramakrishnan talking, and every time he talks, I turn off the TV.
Hey, don't disrespect him like that.
No. He makes really stupid statements. That was like top of stupidity. You're not good. If this was true, Steve Smith, Joe Root, Kohli would all bat at 3. No,
Then
they
why
don't.
does Williamson bat at 3?
Because Ross Taylor bats at 4 and he was in the team before Kane
You don't
Williamson.
think New Zealand would value Williamson's batting spot over Ross Taylor's?
No, because when Kane Williamson came into the team, Ross Taylor was the best batsman in the team.
That's true.
Just like when Kohli came into the team, Sachin was the best player in the team, right? You can't adjust it that easily, and it worked. If Kohli came into the team and batted at 3 and he had success throughout his career, yeah, he would have stayed there. But at this point in your career, you're not going to change your batting spot when you score so many runs. And plus, like,
worst case, you can chuck anyone at 3. Like, you can even put Gill at 3.
You can put Mayank or Gill at 3 because
I don't think Mayank has a spot in a full strength Indian team.
I think
he doesn't for sure.
But if Rahane has
if you drop both Rahane and Pujara, I still think Vihari has enough merit to be selected. I was looking at his averages, and most Indian players average pretty badly away from home. Like if you take Mayank as an example, he averages 76 at home and only 26 away from home. But Vihari actually he's played 1 test match in India and everything else he's played outside, and he averages like 34 there. Granted, he scored really well in the West Indies, which you can take with a grain of salt. But I think he has batted well enough outside of India to merit a selection, at least for the time being.
Yeah, what do you guys think about Vihari getting dropped after that courageous innings in Australia? I think the reason that the management gave was that they wanted him to practice before the South Africa tour or something. But I think he should definitely have played against
I think what happened is Vihari was supposed to play they picked that squad before this New Zealand squad, knowing that Vihari would not play a home test specifically because Jadeja bats at 6, right? So they were expecting they had like another backup already. They thought Gill would be the backup. But then Rahul got injured, Rohit got rested, Kohli got rested. So now, kind of like Vihari looks like he got fucked over. But like, if they had a full strength squad, most likely Vihari would have just been on the bench, and he would have been wasted where he could have played in South Africa. So I think that was their logic. They didn't want to screw Vihari over, but because of how many injuries ended up happening and resting, Vihari ended up still getting screwed over.
Honestly, I like the move of putting Vihari in South Africa and giving him practice before the series. And because also what it did was gave them an opportunity to give someone like Shreyas Iyer a test match when he's been deserving it for so long. So I'd see it as a win-win because Vihari has practice in South Africa now, and they've given Shreyas Iyer a test match.
And let's be honest, batting at 6 in Indian conditions, I think Jadeja's as good as any of these guys, anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
And so you could just play the one extra bowler by having Jadeja in the top 6. But here's the thing: I don't think Pujara should be dropped. I think he played well enough in England and Australia to merit a spot. Obviously, you'd like to see more runs, and you'd like to see 100 now. It's been a bit too long since we've seen 100 Pujara. I think Rahane is the core problem right now. There's too many batsmen who could bat in that spot right now. It's like number 5 is not the hardest place to bat. Like opening is a lot harder, batting at 3 is harder. Rahane is struggling there massively. There's 4 players I think that could fall into that spot. I think Jadeja could bat at 5 better. No, actually Ashwin.
Jadeja was batting at 5 in England.
Yeah, he was. I think my best friend texted me Ashwin would have been better than Rahane at 5. So
Rahane was so bad in the last series against England that they had to promote Pant to his position, and
they promoted Jadeja to 5.
Jadeja and Pant both were promoted ahead of Rahane.
So if you're a number 5 and you just go to 7 and get protected, like I don't think you need protection. I think you're not good enough. And I don't think Rahane is good enough. I think if you put Rahane into a season of first-class cricket right now in Ranji, then you put all these guys who are averaging 50, I don't think he'd average as much as them. I don't think he's better players than them at all.
That's the thing. He's not played. I mean, the entire Indian team plays so much. Either it's IPL or they're playing international stuff. So they don't get the opportunity to play Ranji and see actually how good they are. So I feel like dropping Rahane or maybe even Pujara. I understand why you said don't drop Pujara because there's not an obvious replacement for him. But yeah, giving them the opportunity to play Ranji cricket and see if they're actually as good as they used to be would be very helpful in seeing if they merit a selection in the future.
Yeah, and Rahane could afford to play Ranji. It's not like teams are dying for Rahane to play IPL with them. He's a backup player there as well.
Well, I mean, right? IPL is very different from tests.
No, what I'm saying is he could afford to. It's not like it's not
like he has the time to play.
He could play Ranji. It's not like he's going around playing T20 cricket and ODI cricket.
That's true.
IPL teams don't even want him, so that much. So
Ranji doesn't even happen when the IPL is going on.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I know, but it could be like you take a rest when Ranji happens. Like he warms the bench in IPL, so it's not like he's like playing that much cricket anyway. So he could play Ranji because it's not as much of a physical commitment.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about it, and we were saying, or rather, I was half suggesting that if you drop people like Rahane and Pujara, would you keep them in the team or would you kick them out and put them in the domestic circuit again? And he was saying there's no point in dropping them and just putting them on the bench. You don't even know how good they are. It just makes a lot more sense to put them back in the domestic circuit.
That's what happened with Kuldeep Yadav, and like he was on the bench for like a year and a half, and that didn't do him any good at all. So don't think that's a good option.
But then, and then you look at KL. He was not on the bench. He's been actually playing other forms of cricket, and now look at him. He's back to India's first choice Test opener. The thing is, Pujara, there's not an obvious replacement. You could Mayank or Gill could bat 3, but 3 is a very difficult position to bat. And Pujara's the only one who bats at the tempo he does. Nobody else in that team bats like that. So you could afford to have one player like that.
Also, he has a set role. Like he's the wall of the team.
Yeah, he's the
he
wall.
Needs to ensure that India doesn't get all out for like 30 again. Ever.
Yeah, he blunts the new ball, right? Rahane is not doing anything. First off, Rahane is India's worst player at spin. Not in just the top 7, in the top 10, like the top 10 batsmen in the squad, right? If you include like the back openers, he's probably the worst player at spin. Then he has serious issues against quality pacers as well. Then there's so many bowlers he doesn't look comfortable against. I remember in England, he didn't look like he could touch Jimmy Anderson. Now he looks really uncomfortable against Jameson. He looks, and Tim Sally in the New Zealand series in 2020 and in the WTC, he looked uncomfortable against them. So there's so many bowlers who have their hand over Rahane. It's just like he needs to go play a lower quality of cricket right now because he's just not doing it. He's not doing it in any format or anything right now.
I think one thing about Rahane is that I think some commentator pointed this out at some point is that at the beginning of his innings, he has to have that first boundary. Or otherwise, he's just not ready for anything.
Oh, so he's the worst starter too. He's a very bad starter.
In I think it was the second innings, he looked so uncomfortable against facing his first 10 or so balls, and finally hit one cover drive. But until then, it was just like he really looked really desperate to get some boundary or just hit the ball far enough.
Yeah, he was looking good in the first innings too. Like he had a couple of nice strokes away. But like again, it's just like that was a perfect platform for him to get 100 and maybe shut someone like me up. But he again did not take it. And he's had some starts. Like you look at that 49 in the WTC, 61 against England. But like that's not enough when you got players who score hundreds like Shreyas Iyer. And it's just like at this point, it kind of feels like playing Rahane is not good for him. Like you just feel like he's just getting lost as a player now.
I agree.
Rahane is like the Shikhar Dhawan of Test cricket. Like he'll get those 20s, he'll get those 30s, but he'll never convert them into a big 100. So that's a huge downside to him.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know if he's guaranteed to get those 20s or 30s either.
Those might be the peak now, the 20s, the 30s. That's the thing. Here's the thing. Like, what message does India send if they drop Shreyas Iyer next match? Like, you had to ask, who has Rahane like bribed to be put in the team for this long then? That he can just keep meriting his spot. Because Kohli is the most ruthless captain. Like he drops players so quickly. So why is it this player he's just not willing to drop?
I think there is no way Shreyas Iyer gets dropped in the next match. If anything, because apparently his average in Mumbai is like crazy.
Oh really?
I don't know the number, but his average in Mumbai.
He plays for Mumbai
is he plays for Mumbai, right?
So does Rahane, right?
Yes. But Rahane hasn't played in like 10 billion years.
Yeah.
But apparently Shreyas Iyer average in Mumbai like carries his overall first class average, and it's like insane. So.
Oh really? I didn't know
that. I don't see him getting dropped, if only for that reason. Even if they want to keep Rahane.
Dude, the only way they can have Shreyas Iyer and Rahane in the team is that they drop a bowler.
They'll drop Kohli. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Even Kohli's record in the past year has not been great. Kohli, Pujara.
Kohli has been good, even if he hasn't scored 100. He has at least hit 40 multiple times.
Yeah, he's not Yeah,
he's
he's not
looked
Rahane.
comfortable as well, right? So
Yeah.
Rahane looks like Rahane wants to get out sometimes. Even when he was even when he was on
T
top
and
form.
like Parley G in the stands are the best. He doesn't want to miss out on that.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Or those nice reclining chairs.
The nice reclining chairs. Yeah. Wait,
He's doing his level best to get kicked off the team.
Wait, no. Also, like, even when Honey was good, he was still a really shaky starter. Like, even when he was
really?
Like, I remember when like 2014 against Australia, you remember that series Coley scored 400s, Steve Smith scored 400s. Rahane scored like he scored 100 and a few 50s. But he'd always get off the mark with some like terrible aerial shot. Especially against Nathan Lyon. He'd always like try to hit him first or second ball for no reason. But at that time, he actually got away with it a lot, and then he converted. Now he doesn't get away with anything. He's just mediocre. That's my Rahane rant. I think I'm kind of just tired of. I'm also a little tired
because I'm gonna cry to sleep after watching this. It's gonna be like Rishi and his nightmares.
Dude, it's just like I also just feel like a lot of fans are like, oh, Rahane, he's like, especially after he won the Australia Series as captain, it's like, yeah, look at him, very humble attitude, very nice guy, very contrast to Kohli. Like when Kohli dropped him once for Rohit like 3 years ago, they were like, oh, it's because Rahane's one of the nice guys on the team. He doesn't he's really quiet and he doesn't have like an ego, so that's why it's very easy to drop him compared to someone else. It's just like, dude, shut up. Like the stats show he's not as good as any of the players that get dropped a lot more than he does.
I think one thing you said is true in the sense that I do like him as a captain more than I like Kohli as a captain. But obviously Kohli is not a garbage captain at any extent. So
I actually agree with that. Rahane's leadership skills are definitely better than Kohli's.
I would like Rohit Sharma as captain, but that's a different discussion.
I mean, so if Rahane does get dropped, do you think Rohit will be vice captain?
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Or they will try to mentor a new captain, but I can't really see anyone in the current team whom I would trust as a test captain, even though Rishabh Pant captains his IPL team, and I don't think it's.
I mean, Pujara's a vice captain, right? So
no, Rohit will be.
Rahane is the vice captain.
Rahane is the vice captain.
Yeah, Pujara, Rohit are all getting
if Rahane
pretty
is
old.
captain, Pujara is vice captain, right? So
yeah, you're right.
He'd probably step up with.
Rohit was vice captain in Australia when Kohli wasn't there.
Yeah.
But Rahane was captain, right?
Yeah.
But who was vice captain in that second test in Australia?
That was Pujara. But as soon as Rohit came, Pujara was like.
Because I don't know if sir, do you remember? I was really pissed about that. You know who I thought should have been vice captain?
Oh
Ashwin,
no.
right?
Ashwin, yeah. He's the best player in the team. He should be vice captain because he's also one of the smartest guys.
Ashwin is the captain. He's bowling nonstop. There was this quote.
I have no problem with that.
He's going up for DRS like every single time, no matter what. No matter how far down it's going out. Like,
there was this quote from Ricky Ponting when Pat Cummins became captain. He was like, if Glenn McGrath was captain, he would bowl 45 overs straight.
But if Ashwin bowls 40 overs straight, like who's complaining? Only the batsman. Only the batsman will complain. Like that's such a good. He did so many things this match as an off spinner. It was so fun to watch him bowl this test. His figures. He's had better bowling figures, obviously, in any conditions, but he's controlling those different top spinners, overspin deliveries so nicely.
Also, umpiring was very suspect this game. Just overall just a comment on that.
That's one thing about Rahane as captain in Australia. It seemed like he made every single DRS decision right. In this one, he missed a few. But with respect to the umpiring, they gave Tom Latham out like 3 times when he wasn't out any of those times.
Yeah, I think if it was not Tom Latham, it was like David Warner or something. He might have punched the umpire, dude. Like what? He was given out like 3 times before getting to like 20, I think, right? Yeah. And it was like very obvious. Like no, like I would blatantly just be like, oh, that's not out. Like I'm not gonna celebrate because that's not out. I could tell.
There was this instance when Ashwin was maybe blocking the umpire's view, and he was like, I won't be able to judge the LBWs. And then Ashwin retorted back by saying that you can't see the LBWs anyways. Like you didn't see the last LBW.
He's like, I'll just use DRS, right? Yeah, that's a thing. I once in a game we had this like little kid bowler come, like a younger kid came on to bowl for our team, and he was bowling very, very well, but he kept blocking the umpire, and the umpire kept telling him, and I just said, dude, I don't care. It was a limited overs game, so I don't care that much about wickets. I care. Like, dude, you don't have to give an LBW. I don't care. I don't want him to change the way he bowls just because you can't see it. So I think that's what Ashwin's perspective was like. I'm not changing. I'll just use DRS.
I think. What do you guys think about Akshar Patel and how he is bowled, or his success in the limited amount of tests he's gotten in India?
I think one thing is, obviously he's bowled in pretty helpful conditions, but I think he just shows the benefit of playing first class cricket for so long, right? Because he's had to toil away. He's obviously, like, as Suraj knows, he's a Walmart Jadeja, as I would call him. He's had to like just toil away and be a backup for so long, so he's probably grinded in first class cricket bowling conditions like this. So as he got that opportunity in England because of Jadeja's injury, he was just very, very experienced, right? Like, he knew his game a lot more than let's say like Will Somerville would know, from because he doesn't get a bowl as much because in New Zealand. So I think his experience and having played, like, obviously he's not the most inexperienced cricketer. He plays IPL. He's played ODI and T20 cricket for India for 4 or 5 years now. Test cricket is not as daunting to him, and he has a very simple plan, which is obviously target the stumps and turn some and some don't. Same plan as Jada does. But he's able to execute that and vary the pace very, very well.
Also, the pitches in India are manufactured for his bowling style. It'll be interesting to see how he plays in not so favorable conditions of England or Australia, maybe.
Yeah, but I just don't see that happening. I don't see him playing.
Don't get the shot.
Yeah.
Don't get the shot. Right?
It'll be Ashwin and Jadeja there. So.
Right. Sometimes not even Ashwin, right?
Yeah. Ashwin didn't play in England.
Right. So the thing is, if Akshar Patel keeps playing like this, he'll have a pretty defined role, third spinner in home conditions, and I'm pretty sure he's younger than both of them. So eventually there'll be a time when he comes in, and sometimes they'll be rested and stuff.
Yeah.
He's basically made it. That third spinner role has kind of been like. It's kind of been like anyone. There used to be Shabaz Nadeem,
Jayant
Yadav, Amit Mishra. She's kind of made it that now, if you're the best spinner in the domestic circuit, you have to be the fourth spinner now. Not third.
Yeah.
You kind of, and he's also the fact that he bats well. He makes the Indian tail in home conditions look really, really good, because obviously Indian spinners are a lot better at batting batsmen than the Indian pace bowlers.
He's like a Jadeja, but one level lower than Jadeja.
Walmart. That's the joke I've made. The other Walmart Jadeja is Krunal Pandya.
No.
I mean, he's not even.
Don't compare Akshar Patel and Krunal Pandya like that.
Walmart's like, okay, Walmart.
The fact that Krunal Pandya is in the limited overs team and Akshar Patel is not as criminal, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. Maybe Krunal's a Walmart Akshar then. We can put it as
yeah. I'll take that.
I support Mumbai Indians in the IPL, and I still don't like Krunal Pandya at all.
Yeah, I don't like Krunal Pandya because he doesn't bowl. First of all, he doesn't bowl spin. It's literally he's just bowling as quick as he can.
He doesn't have any skills at all. I think his brain's really good, and I mean, the fact that he bowls bouncers in between his spell, that's a smart thing to do. But
it's not spin.
On the skill set, there's nothing.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys have predictions for the next test match?
I think India will bite the bullet and sub in Kohli for Rahane, and I think New Zealand will also drop one of their spinners for Wagner.
Oh, no.
I think it'll
Rishi
happen.
just said Rahane scores every second test.
No, Rahane's playing and scoring next match.
You gotta keep him.
No. Rahane's playing next match. Like that's my prediction. That's not what I want, but it's my prediction.
And who won't play? Who won't play?
I think
India a pacer or something.
No,
I can see Pujara being dropped.
I wouldn't drop. If you're dropping Pujara, you might as well drop Rahane too.
Yeah, come on. Okay, if they drop Pujara and don't drop
The biggest play is dropping Agarwal and opening with Pujara.
Oh my god. That'll be bizarre.
That'd just be weird. Who knows? I really hope none of these like monstrosities happen. But if Rahane plays next match, he's gonna score, and that's gonna be his best score until the second test of the South Africa series, because he'll score that one and then fail in the first and third.
I think one thing we haven't really talked about enough is the fact that Jameson's career has been so good since it started. He has literally succeeded in every test he has played, and his batting has been very good as well. He didn't score that many runs in this test match, but especially in the first innings, he played a good knock that took New Zealand to a score that was much higher than it should have been after their collapse. And his bowling has obviously been extremely good. I remember against while India was playing against Australia, there was another series going on where New Zealand was playing against Pakistan, and Jameson was constantly torturing the Pakistan batters.
He didn't. I don't think he took a. There was not. He didn't have a spell where he didn't take a wicket in that series.
Yeah, it was it was crazy.
Yeah, Jameson. It's kind of like Akshar Patel. They both have had absolute dream starts. I think Jameson is the fastest to 50 test wickets, but Akshar Patel can beat it. He needs like 5 more. So they both have had those dream starts to their test careers. Jameson's average is like 13 right now.
And he averages like 38 with the bat as well.
Yeah, 38 with the bat. And what's he done so far? He's won. He's already helped New Zealand beat India at home. He helped New Zealand beat India in the World Test final. Helped them win series in England. And now he's played a pretty pivotal role in making sure New Zealand did not lose this test to India. So yeah, and I mean, being on Twitter a lot, I've seen a lot of people say, let's see how Jameson does when he comes to India. Let's see how he does when he comes to Australia. And so far, he's still doing really well.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: if Jameson this game, if he had figures of where he was going under three economy and just getting a couple wickets each, I'd still say that's very good as a fast bowler in India.
Definitely.
But he's playing as a strike bowler. Like Indian batsmen did not look comfortable playing him, and he actually was getting more swing with the new ball than Tim Southee was. Tim Southee, in the first innings, his fifer was all the second day. First day, Tim Southee wasn't that effective, and Jameson was swinging it both ways and getting more degrees of swing. And you associate Southee with swing, so that's a pretty crazy thing to see.
The thing about Jameson is that his limited overs games, especially T20, he's been pretty bad. So that could honestly help him in test matches be fit for every match and have a pretty long career in the format.
Yeah, I think with a player of his physicalness too, I think New Zealand, how good they are in limited overs, they shouldn't have him play the lower format.
I agree.
I think he could be a test grade because Southee, Bolt, and Wagner don't have that many years left. They've played for almost 15 years now. So
is Matt Henry younger? Is he oldish?
No, Matt Henry has been in New Zealand's squad since 2013. So
okay.
He would only have like 5-6 years left. So Jameson is the future spearhead, and you can argue he even is the current spearhead in some ways. Like he's already it's a big thing that he got picked over Wagner too.
Yeah.
Because Wagner is technically New Zealand's highest ranked bowler.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot Wagner was what number 3.
Number 1,
in
right?
December. No, it was Cummins. Cummins was 1.
Before Cummins was 1, I thought Wagner was 1.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned Southee's spell on the second day. Was it?
Yeah, second day. That's when he got the fifer. Yeah.
It was like 11 overs straight, and it was complete. It was just excellent.
Yeah, I think. Wow, who did he get out first? He got Jadeja, then did he get Jadeja out? I'm kind of forgetting. Who bats 4 down for India?
It was
Rahane.
No, Rahane's 5. No, Shreyas Iyer was batting at 6.
It was Pujara, Jadeja, and then Saha.
Saha, yeah. So you got Saha out very early, I remember, yeah.
Might have also been Akshar as well.
Okay. Oh. So yeah, Southee was all over India. Southee has a very, very good record against India. I think they were showing top 5 wickets, the top 5 wicket takers in India, New Zealand. Ashwin is 2nd. His record against New Zealand's crazy. Southee was 5th, and he's played the least number of test matches of the players in the top 5. And I don't know if you guys remember in 2012 when I just started watching cricket. Second test match I watched India play was against New Zealand, and like 7 wickets at Bangalore. And
is this the one where McCullum scored? Was this the series where McCullum scored like 300 in a match?
No. This is in India. This was in India.
Okay.
This is 2012. That was 2014.
Mm-hmm.
This is the test series where Sachin started to get pressure to retire a lot, if I remember. Yeah. And then this is right before India lost to England at home. Before that, Simsali had a spell of 7 for at Bangalore. That was considered to be like one of the best all-time spells in India, except they didn't win the match, so it's not as good as like Dale Steyn 7 for at Nagpur. But this spell here, the one that just happened, was definitely one of the best overseas spells I have seen in India, at least.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing that I noticed was India's lower middle orders increasing importance in taking the team across the line. Like this was a huge problem for India maybe 2 years ago. Their lower middle order was just not playing well at all. I mean, after the 6th wicket was gone, hardly 5-10 runs were made after that. But now, and credit to Ashwin, Jadeja, Akshar, people like that for taking India over the line in that sense.
Yeah, I think obviously Jadeja just had a batting turnaround after 2018. Ashwin has come back in batting this year, and then the Indian fast bowlers have all worked really hard in the batting. We saw Bumrah, Shami in England. Akshar Patel just adds another very capable batsman batting at like 9. Then Rishabh Pant's key innings with the tail also helped in that regard. The problem is the lower middle orders also got a lot earlier batting time because 3, 4, and 5 are failing a lot. Pujara, Kohli, Rahane have not had the best 3 years now, or 2 years. So that's also been a major factor. Yeah. India's strengths have kind of flipped around where their middle order was really about. The openers in the lower middle are what India depends on now for runs mainly.
Yeah, as Rishi said earlier, the lower middle order or the early tail has only been able to do well in India because away from home, like in England, they were playing 4 fast bowlers and all 4 of them could not bat except for Shardul Thakur. So their tail started much earlier there, and that's going to be a problem that they face outside of India when they can't play 3 spinners.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were 1 or 2 innings from Bumrah and 1 from Shami where
that was
yeah, but
I don't think that's something we can expect.
But I think they said that they worked a lot on their batting. That was the thing. They
it started from Australia, right? In the warm-up match, Bumrah had that 50.
Yeah, Bumrah had a 50.
I'm pretty sure it started from
Siraj had a 40.
So. That was also his first 50
came in as
ever.
night watchman. So it's like
here's the thing. I think what happened is they just started doing a lot more bowling machine stuff, and as a tailender, all you need to do is just stay there at the crease, right? That's irritating enough for the bowlers, right? You don't have to. No one's expecting them to score 50s and stuff, right?
I mean, you can just edge 1 ball and you get 4 runs.
Right. That too is very, very irritating. So like if they stay 10, 20, or they just provide support, if let's say Jadeja is batting or Ashwin or Rishabh Pant, one of these guys who might be batting with tail, that's all they need. Just so that they don't have to hog strike constantly. They don't have to worry that they're getting blown out. They've definitely. I think all the bowlers have improved. They've probably been told to work on it because they're like, you guys are going to be in the team because you're the best bowler in this country, but we need 10 runs more.
Yeah, that's one thing I thought Somerville did well this match. Even when he wasn't the night watchman in the first innings, I think he scored 5 off 50 balls or something like that, and that's pretty substantial as a number 10 batter.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, India before were the only team that weren't having tail-ender batters. If you look at the other top 3 nations, England have had like Broad.
All of England's batters can. All of England's bowlers can bat except for Broad and Anderson.
Yeah, Robinson, Overton
can bat too.
Not anymore. He used to.
Broad still has innings here. Broad has had a couple 50s here and there, a couple cameos. That's good enough.
West Indies, he had a good innings.
West Indies, that was a 50. Then in Australia, their number 11 Lion is a decent batsman. Hazelwood can bat. Stark Cummins all bat well. New Zealand, Wagner, Bolt, Southey all can score.
Yeah, Wagner has been batting well recently.
Yeah, Jameson is playing as the all-rounder. So India luckily have picked up massively with their tail. Obviously, it's still not. Obviously, you still can't compare Bumrah to like Nathan Lyon when it comes to batting. But if his average, I think, tripled from like 2 to 6 after that England series. So yeah. All right. Who do you guys think will win the next test?
I think India.
Yeah. Same. No, I don't say India. If India don't win, that'll be big result for New Zealand.
I'd like to see a close match. I don't want to see one of those.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I don't want to see one of those. Akshar Patel takes 7 wickets in a session and everyone dies.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think all of New Zealand batsmen.
New Zealand has
enough.
been playing too well to,
Yeah.
even though they did collapse really badly on the last day, but they've been playing too well to
give it up easily.
Yeah, do something like that.
Yeah, you could tell they want it. Yeah, I think and then man of the match for next game will be Rahane because that tweet was going viral. It has like 30 likes, which is a lot. None of my tweets get any likes.
It's pretty interesting actually. Consistently over the years, it's like it's big.
When he was good and second test 2017 Australia, he made a very, very crucial 50 in batting with Pujara. And that's the only score he made that series. That's another example right there.
I think Williamson's gonna make 100 in the next match.
I hope he does because some people are starting to mutter some things over Williamson's overseas record.
Is it because he got retained over?
No. Some people tweet like Kay Williamson's a very average player against
No shot.
Yeah, don't think
he's not average for sure, but I think in the last 11-12 innings in Asia, he's made 110, 120, something like that.
I don't think so because wait. The UAE is part of Asia, so
yeah.
He was man of the series against Pakistan in 2018.
Maybe the subcontinent, just India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Okay.
He's not Pakistan.
New Zealand has not played in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Which is very clearly known because if you go to any Facebook page, you can see a bunch of Pakistanis saying that. But yeah, I think he had one poor season at Sri Lanka, but it was like 2 tests, and then he had a poor series in 2016 against India because Ashwin tortured him. So yeah. Anyways, I think we can wrap it up from here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back to review the series after whoever wins India. After Rahane scores inevitably his century in the second test. There we go. Awesome, guys. Thanks. Subscribe.